How's it going, Bremerton? Josh Farley with the Kitsap Sun inside Sweet and Smoky Diner, inside which the Kitsap Community Food Co-op has just opened its doors. I've got that story, along with 5 total, that you just got to know about happening in Bremerton this week.
Bremerton's my home, and that's where I want to go.
Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number 1, we begin today inside of Sweet and Smoky Diner off of Park Avenue. That's where the Kitsap Community Food Co-op has opened its first ever pop-up store. But its leaders have ambitions to go far beyond a pop-up. They'd like someday to open a full-service grocery store right here in Bremerton.
Sweet and Smoky is offering up booth space like a farmer's market, essentially. And the more food we sell, the more food we can sell. So we'll take over more space and offer more products. Long term, we want to be the full-service grocery store for Bremerton, for Kitsap County. We've been just an online organization really for such a long time, and to be able to bring people into a space with food in it and fulfill our mission statement after all these years is so gratifying.
Story number 2 today. The city of Bremerton is currently rejigging parking spaces within its garage at 405 Washington Avenue for the purposes of adding some employee parking to the downtown core. A notice by the city's parking contractor came as quite a shock to people who use the garage on a daily basis. There's 283 spots located inside, and city officials hope to add 100 spaces just for those who work in downtown Bremerton. That in turn should free up spaces for people who are parking as customers in downtown Bremerton.
We're pulling them off the street, which leaves then customer parking and visitor parking on the street for the downtown area, which is very important to our downtown businesses as well. So we're hitting 2 things for our downtown businesses. 1, finding a spot for their employees, and 2, a spot for their customers.
Story number 3 today. A Bremerton police officer successfully talked a woman out of jumping off of the Warren Avenue Bridge on Sunday. The incident occurred shortly after 4 p.m. when Corporal Stephen Polonsky and other officers converged upon the bridge, where they found the distraught 23-year-old woman. Polonsky was able to use some conversation as well as the offer of a cigarette to talk down the woman, who was taken to Harrison Medical Center for a mental health evaluation.
She was hanging off to kind of the side of the junction box, and I started talking to her. I think she was a little bit panicked seeing police officers and seeing all the firefighters, so I engaged her in conversation, and I'm a smoker and I was nervous, so I wanted a cigarette, and I just took a chance and said, "Hey, are you a smoker?" And she had told me she had quit. And any smoker who has tried to quit before, we all know that if you offer that person a cigarette, they'll likely take it. And she did, and we were able to kind of start talking, and we were able to convince her to come back over the rail and get into an ambulance, and we took her to the hospital.
Story number 4 today. The 26,000 square feet of retail space formerly occupied by the QFC has not been filled off of Kitsap Way since 2014. Until now. CHI Franciscan, which is moving Harrison Medical Center from Bremerton to Silverdale at a new $500 million campus, will soon construct an urgent and primary care facility where QFC used to be. It will also house a residency program for doctors in training. CHI has delivered its plans to the city by way of its permitting division. However, they have not yet given a date on when this new facility will open for business. And finally, story number 5 today. Purpose Boutique, the socially conscious retailer of both women's clothes and accessories, built its name right here in downtown Bremerton. But since opening stores in Ruston, Kirkland, and Silverdale, the retailer has seen sales decline and lag here in downtown Bremerton, and they've opted to close the store. There's no word yet on what will go into the 1922 built building owned by longtime Bremerton artist Amy Burnett. The building was designed and built in 1922 and designed by renowned Seattle architect Harlan Thomas. That's going to do it for this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast. Enjoy this wonderful weather we're having this week, a little break from the rain, and we'll see you again next week. Music for this week's Bremerton Beat Blast was performed by Bremerton musician Jack Parker, who's currently at work on a new album. You can find Parker's music at jackparkermusic.bandcamp.com or at iTunes and on Spotify.